Tommy coming to the stage. He's a local, he's one of our faves. Please give it going for Super Trucker Tim.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hey, we got Netflix watchers in here. Everybody watch Netflix? Okay, so you guys seen the favorites, Stranger Things, Cobra Kai, Wonder Woman 84, right? So these are all shows that glorify the 1980s. I got a problem with that, because I was there during the duration of the whole thing. The 80s were not the greaties, guys. I'm telling you, let me tell you how it really was. The 80s were not that great. Everybody was broke. The baby boomers, that was their heyday. They come down, they cut all the trees. There used to be trees, forests of them. They're all gone. I remember them though. And they took all the great jobs, right? And they're still sitting on them today. The same baby boomers. And then that's where we come in. You know what they called us? The Xers. And back in those days, guys, it was not good to be an X-Men. And let me tell you why they called us the Xers. It was because we were the unfortunate byproduct of their orgies and acid trips. Right? Ah, crap, we didn't plan on you guys. What are you doing here? They had one rule for us. Be home before the lights come on, the street lights come on at night, right? That was their one rule. And basically get lost and don't show up, we'll feed you once, and then, you know, get out of our face. And that's how it was. And I'll give you an example, guys, because my mom for years called me Woodstock, and she told me I was named after the little bird on Snoopy, the little yellow bird. Then one day when she was mad at me, she told me the truth. You were the accident at an Iron Butterfly concert in Woodstock, while me and your dad were high on acid. So my best buddy back in those days complains about growing up Catholic. And I said, hey, you want to know what really sucks? I never heard anything else about being Catholic after that. But there was an upside, guys. There was an upside to not being on the radar. I'm going to quote the Count of Monte Cristo. He said, their neglect is our ally. And it really was, guys, because we were the most unsupervised generation of all time. We'd do anything we wanted, anything. You could buy a car that could outrun the cops for $700, $800, right? They had the 440 big block, 500 big blocks. All those muscle cars were, you know, in high demand. They were easy to get. Right now, here's my favorite, guys, my personal favorite: banana seat bikes. When we were little kids, right, you could fit two people on one bike seat, and then we had the pegs so you could fit an extra kid on each wheel. Then we had jump ramps that were like 8 feet high. Boom! Come slamming down, blood all over the place, and you weren't cool unless you had an asphalt burn on your elbow or your knee. And if you were really cool, you had a huge one on your cheek. That's the way we rolled back then, right? But here's what was really cool. Things get better. They had a place called Bart's in the mall, right? You go into Bart's, and they had decommissioned hand grenades. Then they had a bolt on recommissioning the hand grenades. The powder, the fuse, and an instruction manual on how to recommission hand grenades, all on the same aisle. And do you think we recommissioned hand grenades?
Hell yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny those allegations. We had fun though, guys. And I remember the Contra Wars. When the Contra Wars ended and a lot of the stuff in the Middle East ended, AK-47s flooded the country. You could pick up an AK for $259. So me and my buddy were kids. We walk into the gun store and we kind of change our voice. Excuse me, sir, we'd like to purchase one of your fine products. Guys, you know you got to be 18 to get one of those, right? But I guess if you guys are going to be responsible, I can fudge the paperwork a little bit. So now you got kids with AK-47s and grenades, and we were the same kids that went around with battery cables and jumper cables, making the arms come down at the railroad crossings, stopping cars, hiding in the bushes, laughing, right? And one time we took an inner tube and two basketballs, painted them black, and we pinned them on the Blackbird in downtown Medford. It's this huge 60-foot Blackbird icon, right, during Pear Blossom, and he had junk. And nobody ever found out who did it. And now you guys know who did it. All right, thanks, guys.
Give it up for Super Trucker Tim, everybody. Absolutely on a list somewhere. Super Trucker Tim.
So here's something jacked up they used to do, guys. They would make you go outside, and it was like they planted a willow tree there on purpose, because you'd have to go to the willow tree and pick the switch you were going to get beat by. And they wouldn't just hit you a couple times, they would whoop your ass till their arm got tired. It was ridiculous why we got those kind of beatings back then. And you know, I'm just thinking though, today that's what they should do. You know, forget the delegates, forget the ambassadors, and you know, all the people they're sending over to the Middle East and Ukraine and Turkey and all these places where violence is breaking out. No, just send our freaking parents over there, you know, with a rack of missiles, and let them pick which one they're going to get bombed by. You know, that would be worse. They should just send our parents over there. They were the worst, coldest people I ever knew. You know, way worse that, you know, Saddam Hussein would be like, oh, crap. Yeah, I mean, Putin, you wouldn't even have Putin. He'd be Putin on the Ritz. He'd be out of there. He wouldn't be messing with our parents. You know, nobody was worse than them. That's why the Xers, that's us, we grew up. And when we raise our kids, I think all of us across the board were like, we're going to do things exactly the opposite to be as different from them as possible. Yeah, another time, guys, we went to the mall and put dry ice in the toilets. Whizzed all over the toilet seats and stuff like that. But that was kind of amateurish, you know. We started getting better. There was one time when there was a pastor of a church, right? It's a Pentecostal church, holy roller type, kind of crazy people. Well, what, I shouldn't say crazy, whatever you're into. So he backs in, he's backing up, and he smashes into my mom's car, right? Didn't say anything. Now, this guy is supposed to be a church pastor, right? Smashes the car, takes off, doesn't say anything to anybody. I find out about it, right? So me and my buddy, we go into the guy's house while nobody's looking. Didn't take anything, didn't smash anything, didn't hurt anything, right? Nothing was out of place. We just took his credit card number, snuck into this porn shop, and had a bunch of gay porn sent to his church office address with his credit card number. Yeah, try explaining that one to your secretary and to your churchgoers. That was a good one. Another thing, I didn't find out about this till years later, guys, but apparently my buddy who was with me took their camera into the bathroom and took pictures of their toothbrushes up his butthole and put the camera right back in the same place, and they didn't find out about it till they had the camera film developed months later. I had no idea. He didn't even tell me that till years later. I salute you, buddy, wherever you are. Oh, man. You know, fast forward to years later to the present. You know, not too long ago. Near present. It was 4th of July, and somebody lights off commercial grade fireworks outside my house. Shakes the entire neighborhood, right? So I come out looking to see who it was, and there's like some shadow figures of small people running off into the shadows. And all these people come out pissed, and I'm standing there, and I get blamed for it. And so I just walk away, right? I walk away, and I see one of the kids hiding in the shadows, and I look at him, and I say, well done. That was well done. Hey, you did something, and I got blamed for it. That was very artistic. So it wasn't a day or two later, guys. I'm walking by the outside of my house, and this 13-year-old kid with glasses on comes up to me, and he says, excuse me, sir, I think my dog ran in your backyard. Can you open your gate and check? And I was like, how's he going to get back there with the gate? And he goes, just could you please open the gate, sir? So I go to pull the gate open. He pulled the pins out, and the gate door falls off. And then he goes to across the street with his buddy, and they're looking at me. And I go, all right. I go, you know what? You kids earned the title, little bastards. You earned it. I salute you. I salute you. Keep the legacy going. A couple of things we did was we had bought this giant wrench for $40, right? And this thing was for fire extinguishers. And no, start over. One thing we did that was pretty fun was we took a bunch of sandbags and blocked up all the gutters and the drainage on a street. And then we managed to purchase a fire hydrant wrench. This is really big wrench, guys. This thing must have been like 3 feet long, it seemed like, to give you leverage to break the fire hydrant open. We waited until the weather report said -2 degrees that night. And we busted that thing open at like 2 in the morning and froze everybody's cars to the street. That was a good one. Another one we did one time was we took a couple of jumper cables and ran them across the railroad tracks. Then we had another set that went to a car battery, and we'd put a charge on the tracks and make the arms come down at railroad crossings. Ding, 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 ding. Just when the people thought they could go again, put the charge on. Ding, 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 make the arms come down. We were hiding in the bushes the whole time. You know, another time we went to a railroad storage area, you know, and all we found was buckets of grease, a whole bunch of buckets of grease, you know, and my buddy's like, oh, well, there's nothing we can really do with this. I said, yeah, the only thing I can think of is I watched a Lee Harvey movie once where he was a hobo, and he used to grease up the railroad tracks to stop the trains, or slow them down at least, so he could get on board the trains that he was riding. And my buddy looks at me like a light just came on. He says, what are you waiting for? Grab a bucket. Let's go. Well, the rest is history. We don't need to go into that. Let's just say trains have a hard time taking off. Anyway, guys, another one we did was we took... you know, they had this 60-foot blackbird in the middle of Medford. It's this like stucco icon that's been there forever, way before our time even. And we ended up, I go over to my buddy's house, and he's got 2 basketballs he had spray painted black, and an inner tube he made in the shape of a penis, right? And I had no idea what we were doing that night, guys, but the 4 of us, we come up to the blackbird late at night. They station 1 guy on each end of the street watching for cops or bystanders. My buddy has a ladder. He puts it up there and he goes, go! Hands me a hammer and some nails, and I realized what we were doing. We were pinning junk on the blackbird in the middle of the night. So we did, guys, and I was really disappointed because the next day was Pear Blossom, and we're all standing around out in the crowd waiting for somebody to notice. Nobody noticed, right? All of a sudden, this one girl looks up and goes, Mom, Mom, Mom. and the mom looked, oh my God! And then everybody noticed. And then it made the newspapers, and nobody ever found out who did it till now. Statutes of limitations, I'm sure. We were just kids. What are they going to do? But the 80s was not a great time, guys. You know, here's an idea of how bad it was. Freaking baby boomers made it to where we had to earn our own money for our own clothes and stuff. Anything we wanted. So we had to go to work at 10 years old. We had to start working, doing paper routes. Now, paper route was where you had these long, kind of thick pieces of paper with the news on them. And we try to chuck them hard to break people's windows because it sucked working at 10 years old. And so anyway, we would roll around, you know, doing that, earning money, and or mowing lawns or however we could make money. We had to scrape because the baby boomers took everything. So I managed to get 35 cents. And the only thing I was dreaming of was a Pepsi in the original glass container. Dreaming of it. So I ride across town in the 100-degree heat, get over there to the Minute Market, buy my glass soda, you know, thrilled out of my mind that I get to enjoy this thing. And everything wanted to kill you back then. It was ridiculous. This freaking German Shepherd comes at me. Nobody had anything on leashes back then. It comes at me, these big white teeth coming straight at me. And I took the soda, shook it up, pulled the cap off with my teeth, sprayed him in the eyes, whack him in the head with that bottle, roll out of there, pedaling for my life. And I barely got out of there. And I had this much Pepsi left. Warm, fizzed out, and I drank what was in there. Complete disappointment. Because we didn't have soda in abundance back then, guys. You had to earn everything. Yeah, a bad day. So we were the same kids that built a catapult that shot flaming projectiles. Almost burnt down the whole neighborhood one summer. Same kids that greased up the railroad tracks in front of a train. Same kids that busted open a fire hydrant after sandbagging all the drains in the street and froze everybody's cars down to the street. Same kids that made some junk out of rubber balls in an inner tube and pinned them on the Blackbird in downtown Medford. Those kids. Well, that same one summer when we were 14 years old, I remember AK-47s came out, guys. And, you know, I had money because I was laying carpet. That's right, went to work at 14 years old. And had a girlfriend that was 17 years old working at McDonald's. That's right, I was one of the coolest kids in the neighborhood because I got to touch boobs. So anyhow, guys, we're those same kids. AK-47s come out. And they were $259. And me and my buddy, we had that and then some. Enough to buy a couple hundred rounds of ammunition for a few hundred extra bucks. And the full cap magazines. And so anyway, technically you had to be 18 to buy an AK. But we were 14. And the gun store owner, you know, he says, well, are you boys going to be responsible with them? Oh, yeah, of course we're going to be responsible. Responsible? Yeah. Well, okay, I guess as long as you're going to be responsible, I can fudge the paperwork a little bit. So that's how we got our hands on AK-47s. And responsible? Yeah. Then these guys, they had cars that outran the cops. And if the cars didn't outrun the cops, the muscle cars they had, like the big block 500s and 440s, then we had four-wheel drives. We had International Scouts that could go where the police Ford Exploders couldn't go. That's right. We could go up riverbeds, hide under bridges. We escaped the cops a number of times. And if you got caught, they had something that doesn't exist anymore back then. It was called legal loopholes. That's right. And you could use them. And now they pretty much tightened all those nooses. Yeah, our parents, the baby boomers, did not really want to mess with us very much. So they just told us to get lost. Don't come home till the streetlights come on. I think it's because of them that they invented putting missing kids on the back of milk cartons. I think I saw a couple of my friends there. But other than that, you know, the ones of us who did survive, especially me, I was regarded as the people's champion. Reason being, I was their Prometheus. See, in ancient times, Prometheus went up to heaven and stole fire from the gods. Me, I was 10 years old, and I got to touch a 15-year-old girl's boobs. With her permission. So, with Prometheus, he just stole fire. But when I came out, I said, I touched boobs! And gave hope to every 10-year-old boy. And the reason that cops weren't too hard on us, or gun store owners weren't worried about selling us whatever we wanted, guys, was because they all knew nobody would do worse things to us than our parents. Because our parents seemed to hate us more than anybody. As an example of that, guys. So, guys, we used to take lawn darts, right? Throw them up in the air. We'd all throw our lawn dart up in the air and then take a piece of plywood, hold it over our heads, and run around and have them come down. Boom, 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 boom. One guy got hit in the eye, and instead of getting sympathy, he got a nickname. We started calling him Squinty. But I think that's the reason why lawn darts are now illegal. And three-wheeler ATVs are illegal. You're not going to see those anymore. There's a lot of stuff that you're not going to see anymore that we had back then that you're not going to have anymore. Like a right to disagree or have your own mind. You're not going to see that anymore. In the 80s, guys, they would say stuff like, somebody would say, you know, I don't care for your aggression toward me and your disdain, sir. And they'd say, I do not know what you're talking about, sir. I have no disdain for you. If it was anything, it would be deferred as indifference. I would not take a bullet for you, but I sure wouldn't send any in your general direction, no, either. That being said, I wouldn't go out of my way to stop somebody else from doing it at you either, my good man. And in the 80s, guys, there was no seatbelts. No seatbelt laws. You could get away with strapping your kids to the top of the cars if you wanted to. And that right, Scamper? My best buddy in the whole world. My only friend.